Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now you may have seen me humiliate myself on my sister's channel yesterday when it came to creating a pair of shorts out of an old tracksuit. You can check that out with the link in the description below. But today I thought, well, I'd humiliate her and I wanted to teach her how to build a PC or an entry-level gaming PC using this. What is this?
I have never seen that before in my life. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing.
Well, this is going to go very well. So this isn't just about being stupid. I actually wanted to test my theory that anyone can build a PC, even if you've never done it before. So, are you ready?
No.
Let's get into it. So, the system Sophie is going to build features the cheap yet capable Athlon 3000G APU. It's a fantastic dual-core chip with onboard Vega graphics, and the AM4 platform offers a decent upgrade path, even when using an entry-level motherboard like this. We've tested a few games using this chip in the past, and using nothing but the integrated graphics, well, I have to say that I was quite impressed with the results. So if you want something very cheap or a system that's ideal for basic computing, this may be the perfect route to go down. You know what this is?
That's a motherboard.
Yeah! Do you know what this is? Oh no, we've established that you don't know what this is, so that's the processor.
I'm reading the label and I still don't know what it is.
Oh well, there we go. Do you know what these are?
I want to say RAM.
Yeah, RAM, that's it. So don't look at that. Oh, hang on, we've got one more thing.
Oh no.
Do you know what this is? It says it right here.
That is literally as simple as what's on it.
Yeah.
An SSD card.
Correct. No, just an SSD.
Oh, it looks like a card.
Close enough. So, the first thing to do is assemble the motherboard bundle, which includes the motherboard, processor and the processor fan, outside of the case because it's easier to do. So, what do we do first? Have a guess.
I'm going to say this one.
Yes, we take the processor out of the box. Be careful not to touch the gold pins underneath because you don't want them to bend.
Okay.
So,
You've made that 100 times worse now. I'm even more scared than I was.
there we are. Right.
Yeah. Oh, I can have a guess because it looks like it lines up with that.
It does. But how do you get that into there? You have
Just ram it.
you have to lift the little silver arm up.
This one?
That's it.
I feel really like I shouldn't even be touching this. Why have you trusted me with such a
And
thing?
then, yeah, just make sure it's clicked open, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a little gold triangle on the CPU, or processor, I should say.
Oh, there?
That's it.
Yeah.
And that should line up with the triangle on that square section.
So that one up there.
That's
Just
it.
Place it on?
That gold triangle lines up with that, and then pins should fall into the holes. That's it. And then put the silver handle down.
Do it go down more than that? Oh, yeah.
There you go. That's it, halfway there.
What is this bit?
That is the retention arm, so it makes sure that it's tight in place on the processor.
What way round does it go? That way?
So there should be like a bit that you can feel here. Sometimes it's like ripple both sides, so it can go on any way. And you have to hook these silver bits over there.
Oh,
and
so
there.
you can like push it about to
Yeah.
make it.
Is it on?
No.
Technical difficulties.
This whole thing is a technical difficulty. Oh, right.
There you go, and then that goes over that side.
Yeah.
And then you pull the arm to the left or the right to tighten it. So what you've done is you've got the arm up in the middle. You need to hold it one side. That's it. Then push the silver thing under there. That's it, and then turn it to the right. There will be force needed.
Am I going to break it?
No, you won't break it. Look at that.
Was it meant to do that?
It doesn't usually make that noise when I do it, but it seems to be pretty solid on there. So, there we go. That's step 2. And then you need to take this and plug it in to where it says CPU header, if that says CPU header.
That's a CPU fan.
That'll do, yeah, CPU fan. It might say CPU header or fan.
So clips in that way round, so that can slot in with that.
Yeah. That's it. Look at that. The motherboard bundle is almost assembled, but
Oh no.
now it's time. Oh, I wasn't recording. Only joking.
I was going to say I'm not doing that again.
It's time for the
Got a bit of dog hair on it.
time. Oh, is it Harry? What's this called?
RAM.
Correct. So these are the RAM slots.
Mhm.
How do you think we get these into there? And the answer is not just false. False comes in a minute. You have to prepare the RAM slots.
Oh, do these open?
That's it. They do. Some of them will open at both ends, like these ones, and some of them will only open at one end. Right. Then you've got this little marker in the middle here.
Mhm.
That lines up with that, so they only go in one way. It's up to you to determine what way that is. No, wrong way.
Typical.
Wrong way. That's it. And all you need to do is push one side down first. No, don't touch the clips. Just push it, and the clip will close. You can use some force here. That's it, and then the other side. There you go. Look at that. One stick of RAM inserted. Now take the other one.
So does the other one face the same way?
It does. You've got to make sure it's lined up with the thing, with the slot first of all. That's it. Sit it in the slot and then push each slot down. Look at that. The motherboard bundle has been assembled. How do you feel?
That was too traumatic.
There we
Do
go.
it again.
Perfect. So the case we were installing, the system inside was one of my old ones. The power supply and rear fan were already installed, though I explained that both of these processes only required 4 screws, just in case Sophie wanted to build herself a PC in the future on her own. That all depends on how well this goes, of course. Right, so now it's time to put our motherboard bundle into the case. We've sort of prepared the case in advance. We've got the power supply in there, the fan, which might have to come out in a minute. And I've tried to organise these cables a little bit for you to make it a little bit easier. And now, what do we need to do to make sure that this sits in there? It involves these little things.
To get screwed in place?
It does get screwed in place, but you have to make sure that these gold bits, these standoffs, line up with the holes on the board.
Oh, okay.
So take the motherboard bundle and just make sure, we don't have to screw in anything yet, you can hold it by the CPU fan if you like. And just make sure that those standoffs that are already in the case, make sure those holes line up with the standoffs that are
Does it go a certain way round?
That's the way, yeah, that's the right way.
Oh, so it's to go right under.
Does it look like they're going to line up?
No.
Well, you're wrong, because they will. Because I have tested it already to make sure it will.
I'm confused with ones where you look. Oh, there.
Yeah, see? So the big holes with the silver outlines around them line up with the gold standoffs.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all you need to make sure of. You can take that out of there again.
Oh, it took me long enough to put it in the first place.
Right, next up, we need to make sure that our I/O shield, or backplate as I like to call it, is installed in the back of the case, and that it lines up with the holes on here.
Okay.
So, where do you think this installs?
In that bit?
That's it, in that bit. So this just clips in. You might have to actually remove that fan first of all, but you might be able to clip it in underneath.
What way round is it?
It has to line up so that when this is sitting in there, the holes line up too. That's it.
So, that way round, yeah.
That's it.
You clip in from the back?
Yeah, that's it. Pretty much pushes in, but you might have to remove that fan first of all.
Oh, trust me, I won't.
Yeah, you will. It's going to have to come out. You can't do it with the fan in the way.
You want to bet?
It's not going to do it because you've got the fan cable
No, I haven't.
caught in the...
You've actually proven wrong.
it's gonna get stuck. The fan cable, look.
I just don't want to take the fan out.
It's gonna have to come out. Yeah, it's gonna have to come out. It will be easier if you take that out.
Where is it?
Well, you can't take it out from that side. You have to take it out from the other side. There's just 4 screws to undo there, and
ta-da!
there we go. So, with the fan out of the way, you can now repeat the I/O shield installation, which should now clip in without any issues.
Going that way.
It's backwards, you've got to think about it. You need to
So it
flip
is.
it. You need to flip it.
That way.
That's it,
I
yeah.
wonder it's not doing it. I was looking at the writing and thinking, what a genius. I knew this was going to go wrong. Oh. This isn't working.
So after 3 hours and 47 minutes, the I/O shield is finally installed, and now it's time for the motherboard combination.
Not this again.
That just has to line up with the holes at the back. That's it.
That doesn't sound good.
That's it, that's all you need to do.
Really?
Yep. So the motherboard bundle is in place, we just have to screw it in. How do you feel so far?
I still don't know what I'm doing.
Let's get securing that. So the screws that you need to secure the motherboard in place look like this. They've got a little flat ridge around the outside, and there should be 6 points in which you need to secure the motherboard down.
Okay, yeah.
Those are the holes that lined up with the standoffs,
Okay.
and you only need to do them at wrist height. So no overly forcing them or you'll just ruin the thread.
That's better.
There we go. Are they done?
Yeah.
All 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, there we go. The motherboard bundle is in place. How do you feel?
A bit better.
Right, so we're in free cam mode now. Ooh, look at this. Now, we have to first connect the biggest and most obvious of the 2 cables, the power connector for the motherboard and the CPU power connector. So, these are pretty simple. They just line up. That one's got 24 connectors, so it lines up with the 24 pin cable.
I've got another 2 there that go in there.
But it only goes one way.
There we go.
Is it in?
Yep.
Well, look at that. The power connector's in. Now for the CPU power. Some motherboards just have 4 pin connectors, so you might only need one of them, but this one has 8. So you need to connect them both at the same time.
I simply cannot do it.
There we go. Now it's time for these. But before that, we'll actually install the SSD around the back of the case, just so that it's done and out of the way. Now go for the bottom one, otherwise the power cable might be in the way. We haven't focused too much on cable management, it's just all about getting everything plugged in and seeing if it works. See if you can successfully piece together a working machine.
I highly doubt it.
And that will do for now. There is the storage. Right, so now it's time for the cables. We'll do this before we power up the SSD, just because they're a bit more fiddly and it gets them out of the way. So, first of all, take the USB 3 cable, which is the thickest of those cables with the blue end, and connect that to the USB 3 header on the motherboard. Yep. That's it. Like I say, we won't worry about cable management yet. Next, you could take one of these cables, this audio one, and you can run it underneath a couple of these cables at the bottom, if you like, just to get it out of the way. And connect that to the one that says HD audio on the motherboard. Now the pin lineup should match up with that. It's got a unique pin setup. There should be the second one missing.
Oh no, it says F audio.
That will be it.
Yeah.
Done. Look at that. Next, take this standard USB 2 cable and connect it to one of the cables that says USB. Again, you can run it under a few other cables if you want to keep it neat. That will go a certain way as well due to the pin layout. Look at that, almost done. And now, these are the worst cables. These ones control the power switch, the reset switch, the hard drive LED, and sometimes any RGB at the front of the case. But for these, you have to line up each individual cable with the corresponding one on the motherboard. Now, each one is labelled and each one has a position.
Oh no.
So for example, that one that says power SW will line up with the corresponding one on the motherboard that's marked power SW or power switch. They'll only go a certain way round.
There isn't one.
There isn't one. It should be down there.
Nothing says power switch. Why don't I plug everything else in and then we'll see what happens?
Fine. Now, what you can do for assistance is consult the motherboard manual.
Oh, like I'm going to read that.
And this should give us some idea of the pin layout. Although, the only copy I have is the French version, but the pictures should be the same.
This is where I wish that I did GCSE French.
Let's have a look. No, there is no diagram on there, so you're just going to have to work with the tiny writing on the board.
HDD, LED, plus, minus.
That's it, and that lines up with the corresponding HDD plus minus on the board.
Okay. Right. Power LED plus.
I'll give you some time to concentrate. Goodbye.
Oh no, don't leave.
And just swap it.
Right, done.
Is that done? Not the neatest job I've ever seen, but cable management can always be done afterwards. It's just all about getting used to where everything goes. So all we need to do now is connect the SSD that we installed earlier and reinstall or screw back in the fan that we removed to take the motherboard out. You can do that in any order you like. You can put the fan back in the system first if you want to.
Yeah, we'll get that out of the way.
Yeah, that has to go in a certain way around for the best airflow. We don't have a front fan, so we want that to extract the warm air from the system. So I always consider the X as the extractor point, X for extract. So the X part of the fan, or this back bit that sort of looks like an X, goes at the back.
In what world does that look like an X?
It looks a bit like an X. X for extract.
On
That
the
way.
inside?
Facing outwards.
Oh, facing outwards.
Yeah, that way the warm air is getting sucked out of the system.
Okay.
So there we go, the fan's back in place, and now all we need to do is... Oh yeah, good call. Almost forgot to tell you to plug it in. Now that should line up with a little connector that says system fan or SYS fan on the motherboard. It will generally be quite close to where the fan is installed, just for convenience sake.
Oh yeah. Oops. How many have you got on it?
Three pins, but the connector might be a 4-pin.
Yeah, so just any of the...
There we go. So now it's time to connect the power and SATA cables to the SSD that we installed earlier. So we'll have to stand the case up again to start with, and oh, that's a horrible noise. And then turn it round to face you. Look at that, there is the SSD. Now, those pile of cables at the bottom.
These?
Yep.
Yeah.
One of those should have a connector, or maybe a couple of them labelled SATA. You'll see what one connects to the main one on the SSD, because it'll be the same shape. A hint, it's
Not this one.
in your hand.
Is it?
It is. That's it. Not that one. That one.
Okay.
That one. That connects to the SSD. It's an L shape, so the L shape will line up on the top.
Oh, I see. That way?
Yeah.
Why would you put it that way around?
There might be another cable where it's facing a slightly different way.
Makes more sense.
That won't need much force, it will just sit in there. That's it. Next, we need the SATA connector cable. This, or one end of this, also plugs into the top of the SSD, and the other one plugs into one of the SATA headers on the motherboard, which will follow the same L shape.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the other end plugs into
Any of them?
one of those SATA headers. Yeah, try and go for the one marked SATA 0. There you go. The whole computer is complete. How do you feel?
Thank that's over.
Not the neatest job in the world, but it doesn't matter. As I said before, it doesn't matter. You can mess around with the cable management after. That probably needs tidying up a bit as well, but apart from that, if it turns on, I have bought worse PCs on eBay with terrible cable management, I'll admit. But if it turns on, which is the next test, then you would have successfully built a PC. Time to turn on the PC. Do you think it's going to turn on first time?
Probably not, because I just realised the switch isn't on at the wall.
Well, let's fix that first. And then the switch on the back of the PC isn't on either, I don't think, so.
Where is it on here?
Just at the bottom. Where the power
Oh, yeah.
supply is, of course. Right.
Wait, is anything on the screen if it's...
There should be, but all the fans should start spinning up if it's successful.
Are you ready?
Let's go. It's turned on. It's turned on. Will we have signal? Oh. Oh. Here we go.
The fan doesn't sound happy.
That's alright. It's doing a restart thing. Have you plugged something in the wrong place?
Probably.
It might just be... It's on!
Look at that.
Look at that! Straight into Windows. Oh yeah, I left Windows on that SSD, so it's booting straight into Windows. Look at that. Success. How do you feel now?
I'm rather impressed with myself.
There you go. Look at that. So, maybe that just proves that anyone can do it indeed. Maybe not do that. I'm going to talk about the cable management again.
No.
Maybe the cable management could do with some work, but you have successfully put together a PC with no previous experience. So, on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it down below. Leave a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Check out Sophie's sewing channel, which is
Sewn by Sophie.
And hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. Time to play some San Andreas.